Welcome to Rising Tides Live. I'm your host, Shawn Walchef. This is a Cali BBQ Media production. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on LinkedIn, if you're listening on the Digital Hospitality Podcast, we want to hear from you. Your voice matters. A rising tide lifts all ships. This is a community of storytellers, of people that believe in technology, of entrepreneurs, and of hospitality professionals. And if you don't think you're in the hospitality business, I have news for you. Everyone is in the hospitality business. This community, today we are going to be talking about pricing. So if you're a restaurateur, if you're a solopreneur, if you're an entrepreneur, if you have a Cali Barbecue Media business like we do, we have gone through many different variations of productizing media as a service. How do we sell what we do? Podcasts, YouTube content, LinkedIn content, thought leadership, audio, video, words and images, storytelling online. We have learned a lot about pricing just in the 8 years that we've been in business. 5 years, we didn't sell anything. We actually had nobody paying us. It was just us out there chasing this crazy dream. And now we have a good idea of what pricing looks like in our Cali Barbecue Media business. We also have a good idea what pricing looks like at Cali Barbecue, our restaurants. But more importantly, we're going to bring up our community today, have a discussion about pricing, thoughts about pricing. How do you change pricing? How do you talk about pricing? And we're going to hear what everyone has to say. So if you're watching, please join us. It's so much better when we have who you are up on stage, so we get to learn who you are, what you're building. Let's go ahead and kick it off with Elizabeth Doss. Who are you? What are you building today on a Wednesday? And then tell us a story about pricing.
Hi, so I am in a building where they're doing construction upstairs. So if you hear some of that lovely noise, I'm so sorry if that annoys your sensibilities. Feel free to mute me. My name is Elizabeth Doss, and I am a GIF creator. I am a verified artist with Giphy. My GIFs have been viewed over 6 billion times, and I've helped brands and businesses get their GIFs viewed over 4 billion times now, if you add up the over 40, 50 companies that I've worked with to have their own animations live. And I also am a social media content creator and manager, and I create content for brands all over the world to be able to tell their stories and just keep that little engine going, the little engine that could keep it going to make sure they're cranking out some great stuff. So I was thinking about this, and Shawn, I know we had a conversation like years ago, and anyway, and I'm the worst at pricing. Even as like a kid, I would much rather just give everything away than talk about pricing than talk about this. But I will say Richard Liverman has also helped me a lot with this conversation, because I would get squirmy around, well, but it only took me this long to do this thing. And that's the price that I wanted to charge. And he said, but Elizabeth, they didn't see the hours behind that of research, of experience, of expertise, of learning how to do that and the nuances. And he said, and beyond all that, when they purchase with you, they get you. And so I do want to say that to the people on this call that are listening. They're not just getting the product that they offer, they're getting your thinking and the way that you can help them walk through whatever that process is. And so don't sell yourself short on that side of things. And I think that for me, it took a while to get to that place. Now, I did my husband has his MBA and has worked, in digital products and coordinating and pricing and all this stuff. And so he would try to sit down with me and say, how long does it actually take you to do the thing? And then he would break it down. He said, Elizabeth, you're making by charging this, you're only making like $4 an hour. Like that's ridiculous. We can't survive on that, on your faux humility. And so there is a part where you have to take into account, especially an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, like you got to take that part into account. And I'll never forget this. I think it was Chris Doe with The Future was saying this about pricing. He said he knew it was time to change his prices when he had done 3 sales calls and 3 people in a row did not blink and purchased. immediately with him. And he said, okay, it's time to reevaluate the pricing on this because I'm now, with the way the field is, with the way the things are going, I am now reaching this level of quality in that. And so taking that into account, and price is what people pay, but value is what they're actually going to get. And so that was the other thing that Richard taught me really well, was to stop looking at just the product and really dig into the value. Because that's where I would get a little bit wiggly, is when somebody would come back at me with the price saying, well, you're making a gift sticker. Shouldn't that be the price of a sticker that I buy at Walmart? And I'm like, but the value of it is a perpetual sticker that's there that you can, anybody in the team can access it. You can access it on any platform in the back end to add, and it can be company approved. It doesn't have to go through the lawyers and through the marketing team and all this stuff. People can add this sticker because it's already been approved by them. And so it saves time because you can brand out content quickly, having your own logo or having your own thing on there. And so it was shifting from, oh yeah, the mindset of what a sticker costs versus what the value of it could be to your company and to other stuff. So anyway, those are a couple of my thoughts, and I know that I am approaching this probably a little bit differently, but everybody on this call is approaching it differently from your standpoint. So we would love to hear from you. Back to you, Shawn.
I love it. Thank you, Elizabeth. Yeah, pricing is so interesting, especially, for us thinking from the Cali barbecue restaurant lens. I remember, making our first menu, and, back then we were reading books about pricing, and, it was $3.45, and, or it was $3.49. And then we would go, oh, can we raise the price of that to $3.79? And is there going to be a revolt? Are people going to still come into our restaurant? And, over the years, what we've learned is the more confident we are in our product, the less the price actually matters. And the more that we worry about what people will think about the price, we're actually in the wrong headspace. We need to be more concerned about how great our brisket is and know what our costs of our brisket is, versus wonder what they're going to think, or what's the regular going to think that always orders the pulled pork sandwich and it's, $9.99, and all of our other sandwiches are $13.99. Once we go over that $10 threshold, is it going to be too much for them to come into the restaurant? I mean, so many of those insecurities go through my mind and my team's mind. And now on the media side, we're selling a much more expensive product, B2B side, where we're asking for $150,000 for a year commitment for someone to launch a show, 40 episodes, 3 clips per episode, plus you get entire access to my team, plus you get social content every single day. If I'm not confident in that is a value, then I'll never get anyone to agree to that kind of pricing. But that goes back to confidence in your product. Julia, welcome to the community. I am so happy to see you here. Please unmute yourself. Let us know who you are and let us know about the restaurant. And after that, you can tell us a story about pricing. Welcome to the community. Thank you so much for being here. Julia's digital hospitality episode's coming out, I believe, next month. There you go. Mike is on it. She was on digital hospitality. She is a phenomenal storyteller. Welcome to the community.
Thank you. Yeah, usually I don't get on these calls because I'm expo today, but we had a little lull, and I was like, oh, what time is it? Let me go.
Amazing.
So I just told my sister, I was like, I'll be in my office. I just locked the door. I'm in a shoebox of a janitor's closet right now. But yeah, I own Basilico Italiano over in Concord, North Carolina. We are a little family-owned restaurant, started 9 years ago, and just this past year kind of started posting all over, telling our story, and it really made all the difference. So now we're bumping over here, doing great.
What I love about what you do on TikTok and on Instagram and on Facebook is you do a day in the life. You share the tough parts about being a restaurant owner, which I think, from my own standpoint, there's enough social content out there about it's great to be in the restaurant and look how busy our restaurant is, but you have the courage to share the truth of I had a shitty day. I had a shitty day. The order didn't come in. This didn't happen. And because of that, you're getting a lot of people cheering for you, not just locally where you guys are in North Carolina, Concord, but also globally. I mean, we connected. Now you're part of this community. Can you share a little bit? Can you tell us a pricing story? Speaking of pricing.
Yeah. I just hopped on, so I was kind of just figuring out what you guys were talking about, but it made me think back to when we first opened. I wasn't part of the restaurant when it first came in 2017. I started serving about 6 months after they opened here. But I remember I looked back at the old menus, and I think a chicken parm was $13.50, and now we have it at $22.
Amazing.
And
congratulations.
Just, you know, one, like you said, just owning the product that you're putting out and making sure it's the best that it can be is one thing, and then just sharing the process behind it. Like I've been watching just a few other people's posts, like a random restaurant in our town, and they posted like their spaghetti meatballs, and he wrote in the caption like, not made with sugar, made with this wine, and da-da-da. And I'm thinking to myself, like, man, if he just like did like a short little video instead of just a picture, and like showing the process and explaining why, and you know, it doesn't have to be long, like 30 seconds would get so many eyes. Because I think he had like 1 like on that post. I was like, oh, we could, you know, he's a friend of mine too, so I might just run over and be like, hey,
do it. Do it. Storytelling police. I love it.
Like I'm a big component for just community and making sure everyone does the best that they can do. So anytime I can, like I'm closed here on Mondays. So for a while, my bank account could not handle it. So I haven't done it in a while, but I try on Mondays to go to different places in the area, different locally owned places, and kind of like try their food and shout them out and do a little video on that. And people love that too, but I fund that myself.
That's all.
I'm a broke girl, so I can't do it.
Juliet, can you, for the community, can you share real quickly about the mega mozzarella? So the secret menu item that you launched virtually through social channels, and how do you price that, since there is no pricing? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so back when we launched it, March of 2024 is when we put it out into the world, and it was just a secret menu item. I did not have it listed anywhere on my menu. I only talked about it on social media, so if people came in, it was kind of like if you know type situation, and they'd be like, hey, can I get that mega mozzarella, that secret item? I'm like, yeah. My staff all knew about it, but they never prompted anyone for it. It was just if they came in and asked for it, they could get it. But it is a 1 pound mozzarella stick that we hand cut. We get like the big grande mozzarella loaves, and we got this. We used to cut it by literal hand and a knife, which is not good for the carpal tunnel. So I got like this cheese slicer off Webstaurant. That made a world of difference. And that really sped up the process. But yeah, we were selling when it first came out. One person did a little on a local food Facebook group, put it on there, so it popped off a little, and we were selling like 20 a day, which was like, woo, this is so cool. And that's like 2 loaves of cheese. So I was like, that's awesome. And then maybe we've had like little waves with it. Maybe 2 months ago, someone came in, a big food Instagram, TikTok person, did not know they were coming, and they just posted a video random Saturday. And then we went from selling like 10, I think, on one Tuesday, and the next Tuesday we sold 70. And that was a lot of cheese. But yeah, it's $15. It used to be, I think I started at 14. I raised it to 15. Comes with like a cup of marinara sauce on the side, 8 ounces marinara sauce. It's great.
Has there been any pushback from going from 14 to 15?
Not one bit. No. Just the random people that have never been here before, and they see $15, because I'll write it now. It's on our menu now. And I'll write it in the comments of places. How much is this? And I'll write 15, and I'll get like, oh my God, I'm locked in. Sorry. I'm trying to get in.
This is owning and operating and running media at the same time. Julia, you're a hero. Welcome to the community.
I might need some gloves.
Thank you for being here. Seriously. Please give her a follow on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on TikTok. She's crushing it. Thank you for being here. We hope you can keep coming back. Yeah. Kyle and Sarah, I can't see you. I think you're here. Are you in a snowstorm? Kyle, are you able to unmute?
I'm here.
You're
absolutely here.
You know how to use your video camera?
I'm not camera ready at the moment.
You're not camera ready.
Yeah, let's just.
Well, you're audio ready, so tell us a story. Who are
Wait
you?
a minute, Kyle.
There's a link to subscribe to access the camera.
There's no hair.
$5.99 a month.
$5.99 a month. Yeah, that's the pricing. It's the SaaS pricing.
Yeah, to take the camera off to subscribe to the premium content. A story. I can tell you a story about pricing that when we were looking to grow, our accountant sat down with us and we were freaking out about raising prices, and for the same reason that you guys have all mentioned. And he was just like, apply the 80-20 principle. He's like, 20% of your menu is driving 80% of your revenue. Just pick apart those items and see what you can do. Raise them by $1, and if somebody freaks out, they freak out. And they did, and then they came back, and then they realized it was not a big deal, but we put like weeks worth of thought into that, and it wound up being like not a huge deal at all. I know now it's like a little bit more sensitive, but the 80-20 thing kind of still resonates with me. That's
awesome. What are you building, Kyle?
What am I building?
Yeah, we haven't heard from you in so long. Welcome back.
What am I building? Right now I'm building snowmen. Like twice a day with my son to get that energy out. If anybody has a 2-year-old, has any other ideas we could do, pushing sleds around. No, I built a platform meant for restaurant franchisees and large regional operators, multi-unit operators, where we basically have a plug-and-play real estate system for them that helps them organize their process from site selection to lease execution. And it's been about a year in the making, and we have finally kind of hit the ground running here in 2026.
Amazing. So I hear that the Troy Hooper is giving a speech at the Franchising and Development Summit, which is happening in San Diego.
Yeah,
it sounds like a great place for Mr. Restaurants on TikTok to come and visit and do some business development.
It is on my big ass calendar to attend that event.
Oh, big ass calendar. Jesse Itzler in the house.
Yeah, that's right. So it's there.
So you're coming? You're coming?
Yes, that's the plan.
Oh, fantastic. Look at that. Great news, Troy. Troy, you're up.
Congratulations, Troy, by the way.
Speaking of great news, we haven't seen him. Go ahead, Troy. For those that aren't on LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook, or which is not anyone in this community, but it's great to hear. Welcome, Troy. We're happy to be here.
I can't believe the OG Kyle and Sarah decided to pop on. That's amazing. Takes a 50-year snowstorm to give him time to do it. It's awesome.
Wait, before you get going, did you get an invite from Guy Clark for Cackles, the new Clubhouse competitor?
I did. He was very excited about it, apparently.
He's very excited about it.
Yeah, he's messaging everyone. I have to check it out. I mean, why not be
I'll
first?
Check it out. Right? I'm Guy Clark. That's OG Clubhouse.
Followers on Cackles.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, look, now we have to commit. Troy, Kyle, and Shawn, and anybody else that comes to San Diego for the Restaurant Franchise Innovation Summit in March. We got to get on the roof and get an OG selfie and on the roof, the old style on the roof with Shawn video at Cali Barbecue.
Have you even been on the roof, Troy?
No, I have not.
How's that possible?
Troy, I thought you were scared of heights.
I am, definitely. I got to stand in the middle of that roof for sure. Yeah, thanks for remembering.
100%.
Yeah, if I stood on a coffee table, my feet go numb. So. Anyway, hi, I'm Troy Hooper, CEO of Hot Palate America, parent holding company, and co-CEO of Pepper Lunch Restaurants, Japanese fast casual concept that is in 17 countries. We have 564 restaurants now. We opened 3 restaurants in January already. We got 13 more coming in the U.S. this year, at least. So exciting. And Shawn's bugging me on a regular basis. When is East Lake coming? When is National City coming? They are coming. But Kearney Mesa in North San Diego County will be the first Pepper Lunch in San Diego County.
We'll be the first customer.
Yeah. I'm also the host of the Pineapple Perspective podcast, and you can see that anywhere you might listen to or watch a podcast on, YouTube. What everybody's referring to is I have a 7-day-old baby today. He turned 7 years old, 7 days old, 3 hours ago, just under 3 hours ago. So I wanted to have him on And if he was awake, I would have him on. He is asleep at the moment.
Do not wake the baby. That's
no, he's in his
rule 1.
Yeah, he's in his 3-hour window of sleep right now. So anyway, if he wakes up while we're on, maybe pop him on screen. But anyway, that's the story there. New dad again, 5-year-old and 7-day-old. So we're happy there. And then we're talking about pricing, Shawn.
Pricing, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I came on 5 minutes late. I'm not sure if we got into it too much, but that's actually a big topic for us at Pepper Lunch today. We have several technology systems providers that allow us to listen to, engage, ask our customers questions via a variety of surveys, texts, all kinds of technologies. We really, really are focused on listening to our customer. And prior to September 1st of 2025, we had about 3 comments or reviews in the entire year about our portion of our hero product called beef pepper rice. So about 3 people out of 300,000, let's say, thought that the portion could be bigger, or the price should be lower, or the value wasn't there. September 2025, that number exploded, and so Pepper Lunch didn't change. Our price didn't change. Our portion didn't change. The consumer changed, and the consumer changed because of inflation and tariffs and rapidly rising prices in the restaurant industry, because we all been holding it as long as we could, and then we all popped at once. Now, Pepper Lunch hasn't raised prices since or changed any prices since July 7th of 2024. Okay, so we've been holding the line and absorbing all the tariffs and absorbing and renegotiating and getting better prices on our ingredients so that we can try to hold the line. And yet, without that even, our customers got very stressed and started telling us, hey, for the money, this ain't enough. There's not enough beef, not enough rice, too much rice to beef ratio. So price, portion, and value is really the combination of price and portion. But those sentiments really exploded in the fall. And in the fall is where we also saw sales decline. And this is industry-wide. So especially in fast casual sector, right? The Cava, Sweetgreens, Shake Shack, Chipotle's of the world, they all responded very quickly with value promotions, right? The Chili's $10.99 deal, the Applebee's $9.99 deal. Chipotle failed completely with this BOGO calendar. Buy one, get one free if you wore a costume on Tuesday between 2 and 4. Literally was one of them, right? If you bought this, we'll give you that. And they weren't the same thing. So it was complicated, and it absolutely miserably failed for Chipotle. We've never done that in the U.S. It is something we do in Asia. Promotions are the primary sort of marketing engine in Asia, but we never had to do that in the U.S. So we very quickly pivoted, and this is my story. We pivoted, we listened, we aggregated insights, we talked internally, we talked externally, and we said, what do we need to do? Listen, to increase the portion of your number one selling product, and it's 55% of sales, right? And to lower the price of that product 20% overnight is a massive investment by your franchisees. The operators are giving up overnight 20% on that item, and they're increasing their cost on that item. Now, lucky for us, we have a fantastic supply chain system, and that cost to increase 20% is very minimal. But dropping your price $3 on an item is massive. And so we decided it was worth to try it and see what the response of a value promotion at Pepper Lunch would be. So we have a 20-20 promotion, 20% more beef for 20% less price, and it happens to be $10.99. So we're getting a bonus there of playing in that $10.99 realm and seeing, did the customer come because it was $10.99? Did they come because it was 20% more beef? Did they come because the price to portion ratio is now very attractive, and so they have a sense of greater value? And so now we have to do the work of asking our customer. We're going to do surveys directly to people who bought that product before the promotion and during the promotion, people who bought it during the promotion only, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to be sending ads to the people who've bought it before and haven't yet bought the promotion to say, look, we know you like this product. We've made it more affordable and given you a better value by increasing portion. Please come back and try it. We're doing all that in a 30-day window now. And I can tell you the end result is going to be this. The portion's going to go up and the price is going to come down. We just don't know what that correct final iteration will be. Will it be 20, 25%, 15% more portion? I don't know yet. And will the price be $10.99, $11.50, $11.79, $12.42. I don't know, but that's what we're trying to determine. And by the way, this is really hard. And at the end of the day, you're making a very educated guess, and you're doing your best. And as a franchisor, it's even more elevated stress. So not an easy thing to do for the first time. You have to use analytics. You have to listen to your customer. You have to ask your customer specific questions about what matters to them, and you have to meet them there. And ultimately, hopefully, the goal here is you're rewarded by loyalty, lifetime value. They stick around. They don't abandon you. They don't go to other places. They come more often because you're more affordable, or they feel there's greater value. But that is a lagging indicator. It's going to take time for us to measure against that. You cannot just look at a promotion and say, all right, the promotion was successful. That's not going to translate to long-term sales success or long-term customer retention. So that's just a story to tell you how we are playing, working, responding in this environment. I'll come back with a report later on how we analyze and how we think it did.
Amazing. That's a masterclass on digital hospitality. How do you use the technology in your tools as a restaurant operator to add value and to build business? I mean, you're in the weeds and trying to figure it out at scale. Not easy to do, but when you have feedback tools and you ask for help, one of the principles we talk about, stay curious, get involved, ask for help. Asking for help is hard to do, but if you have the right technology and you can text a community and you have a good CRM and you have an engaged email list, you have people that want to test the product and give you feedback on the product, it would be your bad if you didn't do it.
Yeah, I think to put a punchline on that, or an exclamation point on this, I don't know why restaurant people are so afraid to ask their customers in the digital realm.
Yeah.
If you came up through restaurants and you had any front of the house experience, it was mandatory that you did a table touch, and that you acknowledged and recognized your regulars, and that you touched base and you kind of got feedback from them, and they felt comfortable giving you feedback, unsolicited feedback. That was the whole goal. Now that most of our interaction in one way or another is digital, with us, it's digital ordering kiosks, online, and all the other things. You have to still ask, and people want to tell you. If you don't ask, you'll only hear what people want to tell you rather than what you need them to tell you, right? They're going to tell you through reviews the bad stuff or the extremes, but it's really the data in the middle. It's the general sentiment in the middle that you want to get in a volume of information on. So we have to ask. And usually I actually promote these products, and I didn't. Look, I make no money. I get no kickbacks. We use certain tools because they work, and they work for us. So if you are in the industry and you're saying, okay, great, Troy, what are those tools? I should have mentioned them. So real quick, let me mention, we use Momos for our collective data aggregation or gross sentiment. We monitor every review mention, etc. We use Momos as a survey tool for a short to mid form survey. We use Ovation for real in-time review sentiment soliciting. We ask our customers with QR codes on our receipts and on our table tents to let us know how we're doing. And Ovation allows us to build volume of reviews as well as higher quality and higher score reviews. And it also gives us a chance to build a conversation with. And we use something called Freets, which is secret shopper at scale in the modern age, where we get 15 to 20 long form 50 question customers come in and fill out a 50 question questionnaire for a free meal. And it's the same 50 questions all the time across all stores. So we get sort of long form review or secret shopper at scale every month. So we combine all of that data, all that information with your menu mix and with your sales, with your anecdotal feedback, et cetera. And you try to create a picture of what the customer is really feeling, thinking, and wanting. And then you just have to do something with it. Actually, make a decision and do something, and then do your best to analyze the value of that later.
Amazing stuff. Thank you, Troy. Jackson, can't wait to meet him. Hopefully we see him soon. Congratulations again to you and Aaron. Christian, 60 seconds. Who are you? What are you building? And tell us a story about pricing.
Hello, everybody. First off, Troy, the little guy looks just like you.
That's good. That's good news.
It could be good or bad thing, but congrats. It's absolutely amazing. I have 4 kids of my own. I know I will work until I'm 80 because of them. So I just 4 one year.
Yeah, and fortunately for the world, none of his children look like him. So just
no, they don't.
Love you, Christian.
That's a little messed up, but I know where you're going with it.
It's a different story. Yeah.
So now, hello, everybody. My name is Christian. I run a company called the Fisher Research Group. And for us, we help leaders stay steady under pressure and turn clean decisions into market price ready pricing. And for us, I actually have 3 stories for you. First story is, I came into the office yesterday, a pipe burst. And I realized I'm in the wrong industry. The guys came and they fixed the pipe. They, he had 2 hours. They charged me $4,000. I was like, I'm definitely in the wrong industry. So if you are a plumber, don't think of anything else. That's where the money is, and I happily gave it to them. So how great is that? And then the other thing about them was, why he was here, he was like, oh, we need to fix this and this. So I think it's going to be a little bit more. In our restaurants, Shawn, the message you gotten from Troy is spot on. Because for me, pricing is really sensitive in a way. If you don't ask that question, Shawn, as Troy said, I think he's spot on. It's really hard to make a data-driven decision-making if you really don't ask your customer. It's as simple as that. And we learned this the hard way, because in our restaurant group, so we have 4 restaurants, and we said, we charge about the same anywhere else. Pricing is very regional, and it's also so different if you're in a city or outside. So lessons learned. So, but I think what Troy said is spot on. You got to ask your customers. And from what we do, I always use this. We helping people writing books. So by the way, I 49 and 50. I have 50 books on the market.
Congratulations.
So because there was a guy about 2.5 years which came to me and said, Christian, you need to be the show and not the commercial. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck that means. I'm still struggling with that. But Shawn, I always make fun of that because he said this to me. And I always said, if I get great advice, I will act on it. And you remember, Monday we had episode, I was really 4 days later, we had episode 1. We have 350 episodes out on our podcast. And I'm really excited. We have some really big names coming over the next few weeks. And, I always said, Shawn, if you would have had said, be the show and not the commercial. So, and that's my biggest thing. We went just through the whole exercise with pricing. I honestly think pricing has 2 problems, what Troy talked about. And the second one is it shows really people's uncertainty. I don't think pricing is math, because people ask, hey, I'm not really sure what I should charge. I think that's the wrong question. You need to ask yourself, hey, what can I do better than anybody else? How can I bring value? And for us, that's what we learned, because we help people publish books, and we have 3 formats on it. And we had, DIY, we had it done with you, and we had it done for you. We currently have more clients on the done for you side than on anything else, because you get paid for speed. Okay. You get paid to cut somebody's learning curve. And for me, there's 3 really simple things I learned. Advice, I think, sits on the lowest level of anything. Okay. If you take ownership in what you do, you move up a little higher. And if you give somebody results, I think that's the highest way of getting any kind of pricing, because many people are stuck in selling advice because it feels safe for them. Because safety, I honestly think, keeps pricing small. So if you really want to charge good pricing, is being a real leader. And leadership shows up through certainty and through clear decisions. And if you bring this across to any client, you charge $4,000 for coming for 2 hours with 2 guys for fixing a pipe, you happily pay for it. And I also was very selective. I had options coming in. I chose the guys which come in because they worked on some other stuff here in the house. But I also know they came, and if you're a plumber, they came, they put tarp down where they walked on. They came, they mopped the floor. It was like The place was clean as they left us when they came. And for me, I happily paid the $4,000. And I always tell the story. You know, you need to know your value. And as you charge more and be learning this and outing, the clients actually get easier. Yeah. And I know exactly what you said. You know, you're charging $150,000 for a service. Shawn, knowing you will have no problems filling up your calendar because you provide great value. And that shows in this show and in everything you do. And I love you, and I'm excited to be here and kind of listening. Thanks, Shawn.
Appreciate you, Christian, and happy that your plumber got paid. his belief in his craft. We just had a plumbing issue too, and our plumber got paid. So yeah, plumbing business is doing well.
I always said we got 20 inches of snow, you know, being in beautiful New England, and I was out there shoveling snow. We don't have earthquakes. We don't have alligators. We don't have earthquakes. We don't have alligators. And it was a thing of beauty. I made it look easy. Oh, I'm sorry. That's all. I don't do it as good as when Richard does it because, you know, he is above average handsome. But I think I was on the level of a Troy. I made it look easy because no alligators.
Well, we look forward to the videos of you shoveling snow. I want to know if you shovel snow better than Kyle and Sarah. I want to see the video proof of who shovels snow better. Richard Liverman on the other side of the pond in the evening, 6 p.m. in London. Welcome to the show.
Good evening. Hi, I'm Richard from Richard Solutions. I'm all about helping businesses and people grow. And it's really interesting topic about finance today because I did a blog this month all about charging for discovery calls. And I did another post about it today. And I referenced Jennifer Aniston because, well, I'm worth it. I mean, she's got better hair, that's for sure. And there's that little bit where I took a little bit of a gamble charging for discovery calls, but I kind of thought about it and I'm like, it's not a huge amount. It's £25, so $35, which is nothing for half an hour. And I was just thinking about it. If you give away something for free, it has no value. And I think it's really interesting when we start thinking about, you know, how we price for things. You know, I work as a consultant, I work as a coach, I work as a mentor. You know, I support other people to help them grow. There's a value to my work. There's a value to my thinking. And I think what's really interesting is so often we give things away for free and we wonder why people don't react to it. You know, because it has no value. And it's really, really difficult. It's very difficult in the creative world. And I know there's lots of conversations that I've had with Elizabeth around this. There's conversations I've had with various influencers. Well, should I do this for free to build up my portfolio or whatever? If you want to work with me, and trust me, it'll be fun. It won't be boring. We'll wear some cool shoes. We'll have some interesting conversations. We'll make your business better. But there's a value to it. And I think there's that little bit where if we don't value ourselves and what we do, how do we expect other people to do it? So I've kind of taken a little bit of a bold step and actually put that into a blog and put a link in there. So if you want to have a discovery call with me, buy it now, $35, £25, tariff free. Let's do this. Let's do this because there is a value to what I do. And I think my point of going out there with this blog, with this statement, is not just for me and my own confidence, my own business, but it's also saying to other people, come on, let's not give stuff away for free if it has value. Just my thoughts.
I love it, Richard. So good, especially in the creator economy. I know Kyle and Sarah can talk about brand deals and being undervalued when you go out and brands tell you that they're going to give you a referral link or they want your video or they want your expertise or they want your storytelling. If you don't value yourself, they will never value you. And that's a hard truth because, you know, to Richard's point, you want to build up your portfolio. You want to put the logo. Oh, I did this work for this brand. And trust me, we've done it. We've done plenty of free work, but if you actually want to get paid, you have to value yourself and you have to lead with it. You have to believe in the price that you're asking for. Because if you believe in the price that you're asking for, you'd be surprised. You start actually getting people to say yes. Laura Wilbur, welcome to the stage. Thank you for being here. Who are you? What are you building? And tell us a story about pricing.
All right. Great to see everybody. I'm Laura. I believe showing up is 80% of success. And when we show up consistently, we are unstoppable. I'm so happy to see all of you showing up. Troy, congratulations on the blessed event of baby, what's his name?
Jackson.
Okay, that's what I thought. So exciting. And I love this topic of pricing. It's something that I cover every day when I'm talking to restaurant operators. And as restaurant operators, how much pressure is on you and how thin the profit margins are in the business right now. And so operators, rightly so, are watching every penny. And there's somebody that I really respect in sales. It's Alex Hormozy. I know, Shawn, you and I have talked a little bit about him. Has everybody kind of heard his thoughts or discovered Alex Hormozy yet?
If you haven't subscribed to his podcast, it's one of the best business podcasts that you can listen to. Wholeheartedly, yes.
It's great. And he has a website with all kinds of free information. It's called acquisition.com. He has different sales training, and he has a whole training about pricing. Mm-hmm. And he talks about something called the virtuous cycle of high price. And it's where, to Elizabeth's point earlier, when you focus on the outcome of the value that the customer is going to receive from working with you, the price is so small, whatever it is, compared to the value that they're going to end up receiving. And Christian, you touched on that as well. So to really focus on the outcome for the customer and be able to prove that out over time, which in last week's Rising Tide, we talked about how do you demonstrate value with no proof. Mm-hmm. So first you have to, start proving this and start delivering value for customers. And that just helps everything grow. But the virtuous price cycle of high price talks about when you charge enough, you have profit, which then enables you to afford to invest in really high quality people working at your company. Mm-hmm. And Steve Jobs said something that I absolutely love. I'd rather have a small team of A+ players than an army of B and C players, because this small group of A+ players will be able to sell circles around an army of B and C players. And so again, if you're not charging enough, you're not going to be able to afford to invest in having the highest caliber people working for you. And then you're not also going to be able to invest in the technology, the systems, and everything that you need, the training, to be able to provide an absolute world-class experience for your guests. Then, again, when you can afford great people, you can afford to invest in great systems. Now you're going to start having great outcomes for your customers. You're going to be able to demonstrate proof. All of a sudden, demand for your product and service is going to increase. And that is the virtuous cycle of high price. Another thing to give you confidence about charging more is an article that came out in the Wall Street Journal last year. And it said that 50% of all spending in the United States is being done by the top 10% of income earners. That is mind-blowing to me, that 10% of the people are spending 50% of the money. These people are doing great. We hear so much about inflation and how all of the economic pressure on people and consumers, and we got to keep prices low. The people who are spending half the money that's being spent in our country are doing amazing. Their stock portfolios have gone up. Their home values have gone up. Their earnings have gone up. They are not as price sensitive as we think they might be. And so how do we create premium offers for this group of folks? How do we reach this group of folks? And for my business personally, I work at a company called Dinova Corporate Dining. I'm in the business of helping of showing up for my restaurant clients and bringing friends. And by friends, I mean 21 million expense account diners who are looking for great restaurants when they're traveling for business, for dine-in, carry-out, catering, and private events. So a lot of these folks who are entrusted with a company card to travel and do business and wine and dine their customers are in that 10% of high income earners that certainly they're going to spend a ton at your restaurant when they're traveling for business. But also if they discover your restaurant because they were interacting with you for business, they've now discovered and tried your food, they can come back and they're not the price sensitive guest. So I believe strongly in finding, creating enough value that you can charge enough to reinvest in your business and provide that world-class service.
That's awesome. Next time you get a plane across the Atlantic, what's really interesting, there's different cabins. There's economy, premium economy, and business. And if you're really unlucky, you'll be on American Airlines. But if you travel on, say, like Virgin, the most profitable cabin for them is premium economy. And I think what's really interesting is when you start thinking about that, you're like, not economy, even though it's got the most seats, or business because they charge the most, is premium economy. And I think there's that little bit of thinking when you were talking about that top 10% of people spending the majority of their income. I think it's a really interesting stat. I always think about that idea that the most profitable cabin on a plane is premium economy. And you start thinking, why is that the case? And how can, and it's always that thing when you think about business, it's always easier to drop your price than to raise it. And you think about that premium economy cabin. Why is that the most profitable for the airline? Just
what's really interesting about the premium economy, I just bought tickets on United to go to Super Bowl. So I'm going on Radio Row. David Meltzer, my mentor, he's going to get me in. It's going to be a great opportunity to go up there. I went through the pricing structure, and the premium economy, they charge you to select seats. So like the best, like you wanted an aisle seat or you wanted a window seat, that's $43 more per trip. But if you don't, then you're going to sit in the back of the plane. And like this pricing strategy is it happens in airlines. We've seen Southwest, they're now literally redoing their airplanes to charge more money for people that will spend more money for, whatever the business class or whatever they're calling it, that have more legroom.
And what's really interesting, I've said this over and over again on this call, what can we learn from other industries?
Yep.
What are they doing really, really, really well? And, I think about Troy and what he's going through with that whole pricing kind of thing that he's working on at the moment. And you look at airlines, and then you start looking at what are the hotels that have got really high occupancy? What's their pricing strategy? And I think sometimes we're very, very quick to look at other people in our industry, go outside of our industry. Okay, who's doing this well? And that's why I always look at like the airline industry and outside of my sector and go, what can I learn from that?
100%. Great stuff.
Thank you. I have one more thing to share, or to share as far as what's working, a way to explain why your price is your price. And I'm not sure that this will be relatable for our group to get today. But in my business, the model is restaurants pay a small percentage of the revenue that the corporate clients spend with them, and we call it a monthly loyalty rebate. The amount that the company gets back needs to be significant enough to get them to change their behavior. So it's not like we're just picking this loyalty rebate out of thin air. And think about your own behavior. If somebody gives you an incentive to try anything, Christian, you had your plumbers come over, you trusted them. If you were going to change to this new plumber, they better be making you some sort of incredible value offer that you just can't resist because, you're comfortable with your existing guys. Same goes with large corporations spending millions of dollars at restaurants. They're comfortable with the guys they're going to today. If you want to pull that market share from them and win that business, you need to make them a compelling offer.
Yeah.
And that's it. I can't change behavior if the incentive is not significant enough to get them to change behavior.
And incentive, changing behavior with incentive, it has to be done with speed. The more
Oh, Shawn, I can't hear you. Hold on.
Can you hear me? You guys hear me? Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on one second.
Speed has to happen. If there isn't speed, we say fast pay makes fast friends. To Laura's point, how fast can you make that incentive payment? Can you do it with speed, and can you communicate it? Because if you can, then you can charge more money. Great stuff, Laura. Ward, welcome to the call. Thanks for being here. Thanks for holding tight. Take 60 seconds. Who are you? What are you building? And tell us a quick story about pricing.
Yeah, Ward Green. I'm the COO of Red Onion. We do guest behavior analytics, basically down to every guest, trying to understand, the why behind shifts in their purchase patterns. Because ultimately, that's the truth. What I say I did, social media, but what I did according to the transaction details, that part doesn't lie. It's a great topic in relation to pricing. I go back to my operating days when I was the CEO for Super Salad and Grandy's. A cool opportunity. One brand puts you in the hospital, the other brand's what you eat once you get out. So it's kind of nice. But with Super Salad, it was a buffet type concept, still is. But they were at $5.49, and over a 3-year period, the financial entity that owned them jacked up the price up to $7.49 for a buffet. So people would walk in with exact change, and so okay, you change price again. And what we found out was, at the end of the day, is there was a group of people that was happy to spend $7.49. They thought it was a great value at that price. There was a larger group that thought that, wow, you're way overpriced versus what you used to be. And so the solution would have been a lot faster using our Red Onion technology. But we figured out was we had a large group. It was about 40% of the people that would use a freestanding insert coupon one time, and then we wouldn't see them again until another freestanding insert went out. And all we did was change that freestanding insert to a golden Willy Wonka coupon that they could use as many times as possible until the next one came out. So we had people going from single-use coupon to using it 20 and 30 times, because at $5.49, that was their price point that they could afford. And what it also helped us do is bring back in the people who didn't feel like they had to eat enough at $7.49 for it to be a value. So if you don't segment your offers to different people, because the value is not equal in the eyes of the buyer. You have people that $2 apart think it's a value only if it's at their prices. So to push out a broad price to everybody, it can also be way too expensive for one group and not enough for another group. So you're losing frequency on one end, you're losing profit on the other. So it's really smart to be able to segment your guests into groups to be able to target them with a price point that's relative to how they buy and how they treat your brand. I remember another old story, like the old Pizza Inn days back when we were at $3.99. CC's was at $2.99. And the only reason why we didn't go over $3.99 was CC's was at $2.99. It had nothing to do with cost or value or anything. It was just purely, we let the pressure of a competing operator keep our price. When we finally bumped it up to like $4.79, which is a screw it, we're going to take a big leap. Didn't see any change because we had a better product at the time. And pricing is, it's an emotional piece, but it shouldn't be. It should be something that's determined through analytics to understand, when I do this, what did every single customer do with their buying historical patterns versus when I did this, what did they do? Did they come in less often? And plus nowadays with credit cards, people may not even notice the change for 3 or 4 visits. So if you're expecting something to be measured almost immediately, who knows? Until I see my statement, I don't even look at a lot of times you don't even ask for a receipt. It's a great topic. There's a lot to learn. The one thing I do believe is, most retail and other types of entities can learn a lot from the restaurant industry because people are eating 3 to 4 times a day versus the reverse. Plumbing is $4,000 you might not spend again for 10 years. So there's no way to build a pattern. Hopefully, yeah, exactly, of course. But next time you have the problem, let me know because I'll do it for $3,000. So
there you go.
But it's a great topic. It'll never end from the standpoint. But ultimately, it is about value in the eyes of the consumer, but understanding that every consumer sees you differently. And so to price the same to everybody can be very, very dangerous. Like I said, it can impact frequency negatively and profit negatively. And then you end up with 20% of the people who all love that price point. And those are the ones that really appreciate you, but that's not enough.
Awesome stuff, Ward. Great insights. Thank you. Ian Hawksworth, it's up to you. Wrap us up.
I'll do my best. Ian Hawksworth. I'm a partner with EHS Recruiting Company in the Southern California office. We assist with leadership recruiting for restaurants and hospitality companies nationwide. The pricing conversation for restaurants, for me, it's a little bit more of a customer perspective on it, I think, because, I go to restaurants often to support them, our clients, and so on. And I think a big part of it is knowing your customer, obviously, but frequency is a huge aspect of that, because kind of like what everyone touched on this in a little bit different way, but the more frequent your customers are coming, the better, more familiar they are with the pricing. So for me, if I go to a restaurant once a month, I might not notice if it changes 50 cents, on the menu. But if I go there weekly, I probably would, So some of that, I think, has a huge impact on customer perception. Obviously, if you can divvy up the different segments of your customer base, then that's awesome. When it comes to our model for pricing, we're a contingent service, and in recruiting broadly, there's been a huge shift to more retained search, where you get part of the fee up front, whereas we don't charge till we place a candidate. So we charge on delivery, basically. So it's a little more like a plumber, where no one pays till you completed that service. But that's changing and evolving, because our customer base is in a pinch, as people have mentioned. The margins are thin, and companies don't want to pay for something they're not sure they're going to receive delivery of. So that's one reason we've kept that model. But it's a complex situation. When with executive search and higher things, it's more likely, that premium product has premium pricing, so there's more retainers and things for that type of service. For unit level search, I think tends to be a broader array of offerings for the industry. So pricing is definitely a very interesting conversation. I've learned a lot just from everyone in the industry speaking on their perspective of it here today. And I like Richard's note on, charging what you're worth and all of that. There's been conversations constantly across the industry about that, both from the restaurant perspective and from service providers to it. So love hearing everyone's thoughts.
Amazing stuff, Ian. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for being here. Elizabeth, let's go ahead. Tip, takeaway, homework assignment.
Well, it is always so fascinating to hear on the different scale levels of how people are attaching and investigating this. And I think, one thing is clear is really making sure you're checking back in to about changing the pricing, whether to or not. But like, for the most part, there's a shift that, and so not ignoring this part of it. And I loved how Troy was like, we deep dive. We are researching. We are like, there this constant evolving of that part of saying, we want the data and the responses to converge. And so anyway, I just think it's really fascinating to not ignore it. But one thing I keep hearing across everybody is that idea of the value part of what people are getting on that side, and making sure that the value and the price are that Venn diagram, of all that. So anyway, thanks for everything. I hand back to you, Shawn.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Elizabeth. Christian, tip, takeaway, homework assignment.
So it's easy for Richard to charge, to get on the phone with him. There's a name for that, but I leave this a separate conversation. And you are handsome, so I will pay you 15, or what do you do? $22 to talk to you for a half hour? I think that would be lovely. But for me, around pricing is what we...
That's my OnlyFans, Christian. I don't talk about
okay. It almost sounded like it. So there's really one thing we have learned over the last few years, and that's really simple. People pay for clarity and people pay for speed. A confused buyer doesn't buy, and that's for me my thing. And I learned this over the last few years. And
amazing stuff.
Thanks for having me, Shawn.
Thanks, Christian. Ian, tip, takeaway, homework assignment.
My takeaway is just, you're always polishing your pitch a little bit, and I think just revisiting it, like Laura said, building the value up front so that the pricing is less relevant, just making sure to continue to tweak and craft that. That's my takeaway and homework assignment for myself.
Awesome. Good stuff. And just a reminder, give Basilica Italiano a follow if you're not following her on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Julia, welcome to the community. So happy that you made it on here. What's your tip, takeaway, homework assignment?
Yeah, so there's a lot of homework all across the board. This was super awesome. I've already followed Alex, the podcast?
Alex Ramosi.
Yep, already followed that one.
The game, yeah.
That's the homework.
The other one for anyone listening is Chris Doe, The Future. Chris Doe, The Future. If you put in pricing, he has phenomenal content on pricing. It's applicable to restaurants, entrepreneurs, whatever business you're in. Very good stuff.
Yeah, I love all of that stuff. So I'm gonna take all that in. The secret shopper thing that Troy, I think, talked about. I think it was another homework, and then just charging your worth and being confident in that and showing value. And this was all just a great reminder of that.
Awesome. Thank you. Welcome. We appreciate it. Troy Hooper, tip, takeaway, homework assignment.
Yeah, look, you have to not just ask your customer, but you should know what your competition is doing. You should know what similar or like brands to you are doing. And you should ask your peers. So I have a peer group of 90 CEOs in the world, and mostly in North America. And I can send out a mass email to all of them and say, hey, this is what we're seeing. This is what we're hearing. This is what we're thinking we're going to do. What's working for you? I think you'd be shocked at how many people would tell you exactly what is and isn't working for them so that you can avoid trial and error and refine your optionality down as best as possible. So community matters. This community, every community, mentorship, peer groups, mastermind groups, roundtables, conferences. The information's out there. People are willing to share. People want to make life easier for you. They want to give their knowledge and experience. You just have to ask for it.
Great stuff, Troy. Appreciate you. Ward, tip, takeaway, homework assignment.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to use all the points that I learned here I'm going to just whip out an email real quick to all of our existing customers, kind of remind them that we do have a price elasticity tool, which is demand-based. So it has nothing to do with cost, really. It just has everything to do with how the customers treat your menu and pricing as a byproduct of any brand event. So a new LTO, a new price increase, whatever, we can see how every single customer responds to it by way of the purchase. And just kind of remind them, because it's, you don't do pricing up often, and sometimes you don't do it often enough. So I'm just using all the great ideas that I heard from everybody and just going to push out an email probably within the next 15 minutes to every client.
Awesome.
Hey, real quick, to Ward's point, that was amazing. It made me just out loud think, you don't have to change a damn thing. If your customer just needs to be reminded, right? To Ward's point, they may not realize that you have great value. Tell them you have great value. You may not have to change it to get their attention. You just have to tell them and get their attention to what you already have or what you already offer, or drive them. If you see the trend, drive them. I just got an ad, Ginya Ramen, 2 bowls for $26. Now, I'm not happy with the fact it's on Tuesdays only, but if you already are priced well or you have a good value proposition, you do have to actually remind your customers that it exists.
Yeah, let me follow up on that, because we were working with one of our clients and they pushed out an offer at a certain price point, and they felt like they did a good job. So yeah, we saw 40 people respond to that offer at that price point. But since we track frequency of every single guest, we were able to tell them that actually there was over 500 people that changed their frequency ratio as a byproduct of that offer. They just didn't like the offer. But it actually shows that brand advertising is still incredibly strong versus always thinking you have to give something away.
Wait, I'm sorry, Ward. Can you say that for the people in the back? Brand advertising works.
Oh yeah,
Top of funnel versus bottom funnel. Can I just bring you onto my calls?
You don't have to give it away, but you do have to remind people that you exist. There's a lot of competition out there, especially lunchtime. Again, with the $10.99 at Chili's, and everybody's basically just giving it away. The problem is when everybody gives it away, it's like the Popeye and Brutus cartoon where they were selling gasoline, they kept lowering the price, and then Popeye said free, right? And then all of a sudden Brutus he's out with olive oil and taking her on a date. So you have to just be careful. You can't just respond and react. You have to think through and process the information and then make a responsible decision around value. And value sometimes isn't always, look how much I put on the plate. It's how much can you eat? There was a time when people had different portion levels for different prices, which can be confusing, obviously, on the operational side. But at the same time, again, being a value to everybody uniquely to their purchase habits is really important.
Super insightful. Thank you, Ward. Richard, tip, takeaway, homework assignment.
Yeah, just listening to Ward and Troy just reminded me of that old thing that if you're not talking to your customers, somebody else will.
Yeah.
Whether you're reminding them of price or whatever it is. And I think sometimes we forget that. And there's always that rush to get new clients or new customers through the door. Go talk to your existing ones. So I've really enjoyed this evening. I think when we talk about money and pricing, it's one of those ones that is often ducked by people because it can be awkward. It can be a difficult conversation to have. But I think it's a really, really important one. So I just thought, great conversation. Congratulations to Troy on the newborn. That's super news. And welcome to our new guests as well. I think it's fantastic. And Troy, just a tip for you. I suffer from one of the same disabilities as yourself. I hate heights, and I'm a real admirer of Alex Holland. I think he's one of the most amazing people on planet Earth. My wife made me watch him do the live climb of the Taipei thing. I had a panic attack. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen. It belongs in a cinema as an X-rated horror.
Listen, I said that if I got on a coffee table, my feet go numb. I can watch anything on television. If they look over the edge, I'll go numb to the knees. And if you get on a coffee table, my legs go numb. So I have the fight or flight reaction if I see you do it. So
do you know what was amazing on that whole thing? There was this brilliant. They had Mark Rober, the YouTuber, NASA scientist guy, and he said what's really interesting about people's fear of heights. It's because from caveman times, all the idiots that went to the edge of the cliff fell off, died off. That's great because the DNA of the sensible ones that avoided the heights lived. So I think you and I are the sensible one, Troy, and our kids are going to be fine. As for Shawn, he's doomed.
Yeah. Shawn's all about, he doesn't care how tall the roof is. He's like, put me on the top of the tallest roof.
It's got to go to the top. Video. As long as we can throw a drone off the top, then we're good. Laura, tip, takeaway, homework assignment. Take us home.
Yes. So Ward, Shawn, you touched on the importance of filling the top of the funnel. I heard a quote at the Restaurant Finance and Development Conference that 80% of the people who try a restaurant once will never go back. To me, that is absolutely staggering. So for any restaurant operators out there listening, you have to constantly be filling the top of that funnel to get those people who are going to be your repeat guests in. So that's super important. And also for me, a homework assignment is, Christian, to connect with you to get an update on I like the DIY, do it yourself, done with you, done for you, and the different pricing on the books. So I want to find out a little bit more about that. And then my tip is I think it's brilliant what Richard's doing. I'm always a fan of what Richard's doing. And $35 or 25 pounds is an absolute steal for 30 minutes of Richard's time. You will get so much value from that. Just in having a conversation with him, he's just going to help spark some ideas to get you a little bit more focused on achieving your goal, on figuring out how to offer more value to the community that you serve. Mm-hmm. So for anyone listening, absolutely take advantage of Richard's offer.
Amazing stuff. Elizabeth, Christian, Richard, Troy, Ward, Laura, and everybody that joined. Friday is Pitch the Tide. It's our restaurant technology showcase show. Will Stewart, he is the founder of RightWork. He was an intern at Starbucks and rose within 5 years to be one of their top data scientists. He worked a lot on labor. He launched a new product called RightWork. It is a scheduling tool, predictive scheduling, AI analysis. He is a rock star. Please join us on Friday to hear his pitch. Very brilliant guy, building something really, really cool. If you guys can make it, that would be awesome. Bring some restaurateurs, give him some feedback on his pitch, his go-to-market strategy, and thank you all. If you guys want to host the show, actually, somebody can host the show next Wednesday. I will be at Radio Row. I will try to tune in from Radio Row so I can top Troy from, like where's the coolest places that you can join the show from. I'll try to join from Radio Row, but we do need a host. So reach out to Mike if you're interested. Mike at CaliBBQ.media. Host the show next Wednesday. Every Wednesday, every Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. We appreciate you guys. Rising tide lifts all ships. Have a great day.
Thanks all.
Bye.
Bye.